Hey everyone, welcome to Flash Cycle, a webinar dedicated to all things sterile processing. I'm Clayton, and I'll be your guide as we discuss the newest trends and technologies and have conversations with leaders in the industry about their personal journeys. Join us today as we dive right into the world of sterile processing. Hey Ali, thanks for being with us today. I thought we would really quickly just hear about your story in sterile processing, and you can kind of talk to us a little bit about your experience.
All right, so I have about 13 years, lucky 13, in healthcare. I worked at Sanford Health in Fargo, North Dakota for about 10 years and worked in sterile processing, worked with loaner instrumentation, did a lot of special projects, moved over to supply chain, built a brand new level 1 trauma center, went back into sterile processing, did more project work, and then started working at Asenco, and I'm a client success manager now, so I get to take some of those experiences as far as projects and doing exciting things and helping translate that over to our clients.
Awesome. That's great. Well, thanks for sharing. Today, we're going to hear a little bit about some other stories, and then we'll get kind of right into the fun of it all. So appreciate it. Thanks for being with us. Hey, Alex, how you doing today?
Good, Clayton. How you doing?
Not too bad. Hey, thanks for being with us. I thought we'd start off and just ask you a quick question about your sterile processing experience, what got you into the field, and kind of your position now.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So my experience in sterile processing began about over a decade ago in the Navy. I was a surgical technologist in the Navy for about 6 years, 2 years as a reservist. In that time, I did SPD management my last 3 years. So I managed SPD for a clinic over at Portsmouth, which is in Virginia. After that, I moved down to Gainesville, went back to school for a little bit, working at the VA. And then that's where I got picked up by Asenco as a platform specialist. So now I am the on-site platform specialist with UF Health Shands, managing about almost 80 ORs. Really cool experience in a centralized off-site processing department.
Very cool. Great story. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for your service, and we're going to get right in today. Appreciate you kind of sharing that with us. We'll look forward to kind of hearing some more about that a little bit later. Hey, Dave,
Hello.
how you doing?
Good. You?
Hey, great. Good to see you again.
Yeah, same here.
Awesome. Hey, if you don't mind, walk us through your experience in sterile processing. I know it's pretty lengthy, but if you could give us a small rundown of what you got into,
no problem.
how you got into the field.
Yeah, no problem. I kind of was born and raised in sterile processing since I was 19. I think I'm going into like 35 years or something like that. But everything from a technician to a supervisor to a manager to getting involved with standards, running and serving with HSPA for 6 years, including being president, and now out here doing my own thing with David Jagrosse Consulting.
Awesome. Hey, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you kind of stopping in today. We certainly appreciate your experience and are looking forward to having a fun episode with you here today.
Sure, you got me in super sterile processing superhero mode today, so thank you. Okay, so immediate use steam sterilization. Here's what it is not. It is not a cycle. It is not a specific autoclave. It is anything. It is all based on immediacy. So we have to really get familiar with that term. It is something that has no shelf life. You can put it into the cycle, but it has to be used within an immediate amount of time as defined in the current standards.
Awesome. So you mean that if we go ahead and go through with an immediate use sterilization, that if it's not used in that case, we don't just put that back on the shelf, Dave?
Correct.
Awesome.
And that was the whole intent behind the 2011 multi-society position paper,
Right.
back when we changed the definition from flash to immediate use,
Yes, sir.
because number one, things were being cleaned in scrub sinks, so it really focused on cleaning, proper cleaning. But then also we got rid of both gravity cycles and open pan delivery of those items.
Awesome. We'll appreciate that answer. Let's see what we have for the next one.
So like most importantly for IUSS, you need an instrument that is clean. So any bioburn or anything like that won't be able to be IUSS. You would need to have a full decontamination cycle. So that's probably key to that. From an analytics perspective, though, you really don't want to do IUSS. You want to limit that by making really smart decisions with your inventory, so you don't have to take these key steps. Reducing IUSS to as much as you can.
Awesome. Can you explain to me when there's an appropriate instance to use an IUSS cycle?
Oh, absolutely. If you have a single instrument or a limited amount of instruments, not an entire set, 'cause you cannot IUSS full sets, that you either contaminated while on the field or did not not grossly contaminate. Like I'm talking about touch with an unsterile glove.
Right.
Those are the instances that you may IUSS if you don't have that item peel packed or another set available. But like I said, if you do have another set available that's not already tasked for another set, or you have that item peel packed, that was definitely your go-to that actually accomplished a full terminal cycle.
Oh, awesome. So it sounds like one-of-a-kind items. If you may drop something in surgery and need that turned over, that sounds like that would be the appropriate time to go ahead and do an IUSS cycle.
Absolutely. And you always want to check your IFUs because there are a lot of instrumentations and specialty instruments that cannot be IUSS at all.
Now, is this policy based on hospital, or is it across the board in healthcare on the approach a facility will want to take on determining if they should IUSS cyclers?
Ultimately, it will always come down to hospital policy, but you will want to follow the AMI and AORN guidelines for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Awesome. Thank you for that. Appreciate that feedback.
So when you are doing any sterilizer load, it's important to verify that the parameters were met on the cycle. I know that's one thing where when the OR manages IUSS and they run the sterilizers, sometimes they're not looking at the tape that prints out of the machine to actually confirm whether that passed or not. And they may also be running tests in there and they're not exactly sure how to do it. I always recommend that sterile processing departments are the ones that actually run the sterilizers and confirm the item is sterile. Just again, because you never know what can happen with tests or with, the sterilizer itself. So you don't want to, use IUSS sterilization on a patient, that item, and then find out later that some parameter wasn't met or there was some failure in the load. So again, always want to make sure that just like any sterilizer, you are confirming that all of those conditions were met for sterility for that item.
Right. Very important. Yes. Validating and verifying that all the parameters were met is certainly probably step number one in making sure that, the items are sterile. Are there any physical checks that we can take? Are there any physical chemical indicators that we could see, or locks? Is that still the same approach on?
Well, it depends on the device like the containment device that you're using. So again, it should be packaged according to the policy, should follow the decontamination procedure according to the policy. So all of those normal cleaning, assembly, sterilization checks should all be done, just like with any other instrument or device,
Yes.
should have the same standard of care. And again, those should just follow the hospital policy.
Awesome. So it sounds like there's a big collaboration piece on understanding from the OR what your policy is at the hospital to ensuring that it's an appropriate cycle you're running. It sounds like there's a lot of hands-on on board with trying to make sure that this is the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I love the patient advocacy piece to this too, making sure that we're all kind of, doing the right thing, and understanding the why behind it is truly important. So really appreciate that. All right. I think we got 2 more questions.
Ali definitely spoke on this just now when she mentioned sterile processing taking over the IUSS workflows versus the OR. It's definitely something I see shifting to at the facility I work with mostly, UF Shands, where the SPD, like OR, will have to need something IUSS. They'll call the SPD, and SPD will send a tech to do the actual IUSS workflow and record it inside the tracking system, which we use is Sonar here. And Sonar will automatically pull all the parameters and verify that the parameters were met without them having to do it themselves. So that's definitely the future of IUSS. But even beyond that, using analytics so IUSS never has to be done, I think is the ultimate goal.
Awesome.
Alex, I think that's great. Just to jump on that, it's that's like having us go upstairs and perform nursing activities, right? Nurses are not specialized or trained in what we do, so why would we ask them to verify sterilization loads, right?
Yeah. It sounds like you would want to leave that to the professionals, right? The ones that are trained on, verifying that everything went correct. Like Ali said, it's very important that, you can hit, start on the cycle, but verifying it afterwards is really a crucial element to make sure that, all phases of the sterilizer went through and passed correctly.
Additionally, you're not training OR staff to do the maintenance or the checks every single day. Those never get met by the OR. So it's just beneficial to have SPD take care of all that.
Yeah, we don't want the SPD world to hate us out there, but it is the right thing to do. I mean, we own that, so it is the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah, really owning that piece is a big part of sterile processing. I think Alex, you said it really well. We work for a company that provides a instrument tracking system. So can you talk a little bit about that, Alex? If a staff at the facility you work at was asked to run an IUSS cycle, and then everybody's used to the printed out receipts, what if that receipt gets lost after it's updated in the system? Are people able to retroactively go back and access that for regulatory or joint commission audits or things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our tracking system, Sonar, has a one-click report that will print out all parameters that were checked, and will also generate the actual receipt, which is exported as an image file, and it's parsed out. So Sonar pulls and checks it, makes sure the parameters were met, and the cycle actually did pass. And it won't let that instrument get used on the patient until those parameters are passed. So all these really good checks that keep the patient safe.
Yeah, having those safeguards in place, I'm sure, is something that really highlights the efficacy of that instrument tracking system. So being able to be regulatory ready is always, you got to be hyper vigilant almost about being ready at any given moment. So it's nice to know that with instrument tracking system that you have the capabilities to pull those up in just a moment's time.
Absolutely, and they will ask.
Yeah, they absolutely will.
IUSS is a big target.
They will. Yeah. And Clayton, I have done a number of legal cases as a subject matter expert, and let me tell you, it will make or break your case. You got to have access to this data if you're either trying to defend yourself as a hospital, or if you're a patient who brought a lawsuit against the hospital.
Right. Yeah. Maintaining all of those records is, it's really something that's, it's a Herculean effort sometimes to just capture all of those. And, Sonar, the instrument tracking system, is really intuitive and user-friendly on, really managing and kind of customizing the reports that you can run, and being able to, really manage your all of your workflow and paperwork as well. So
I've had history in my career where Joint Commission came in, and they actually asked to see the paperwork, and we told them it was archived, and they said, pull it. And, you know,
Yeah.
they were there for 3 days. It took us a day to get it out of the paper-based storage, but
Sure.
and then we had to look through the boxes and find a specific cycle. But, you know, it's very cumbersome to do it on paper.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Dave, you're a big winner today. Your in-depth overview of IUSS cycles was greatly appreciated. We thank you for stopping in and having this chat with us today. Great job, and
Thank you.
Appreciate all you do for the sterile processing field. We know you stay very busy traveling, advocating for all sterile processing techs and departments across the country. So appreciate all your work, and definitely look forward to having you on again.
Absolutely. And, you know, for the folks out there, make sure that you are tracing and tracking and documenting this, you know, IUSS cycles, and that your goal is reduction, because when the standards changed, it wasn't good enough just to have documentation. You have to act on that documentation. The goal of recording IUSS is an overall reduction, if not elimination. So that's
Right.
my parting message.
Awesome. It's important to not just meet the standards, but to exceed them, right, Dave?
Indeed.
Okay. Alex, Ali, appreciate you guys being on with us today. You guys gave some great feedback and insight into IUSS cycles and how they apply to your everyday life and job. So appreciate you guys sharing with us. We will be more than thrilled to have you guys back on another episode. So appreciate you guys. Everybody have a great Friday, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
Guys.